Good afternoon, Ron. Just quick update. Didn't see Cam Curl out there today. Is there any update about where he was or what's going on with him?
Just illness, nothing serious, nothing to be concerned with. Okay, but you know, he's fine. We expect him back tomorrow.
Okay, and then this was the first time in a while that you guys have had Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen back in the first team group. Just some of the things that you all noticed having them back, some of the differences where they weren't there.
Well, you know, yesterday was an interesting day because you know, they got after the defense pretty well, and you know, Jonathan's been nursing the hamstring, and we didn't have Deron, we didn't have Matt inside, we didn't have our stout guys. Today we had them back. We got an opportunity to see what they look like being stout, how much easier it is on the linebackers to run and flow and do those kinds of things. So it's good to have them both back out on the field together again, and looking forward to when we get Matt back out there as well.
You guys also crossed that threshold with the vaccine. What does that mean just for you guys, especially where you were at a few days ago?
Well, it's good. I mean, you know, the kudos to the players for trying to get as informed and educated on it as much as possible, and you know, that's a good thing. That's a plus. We're heading in the right direction. You know, we still have several guys that aren't, and we'll see what happens. But you know, hopefully we can continue as these guys get more and more comfortable with it. You know, we can get it done.
And then if they're with Matt Ioannidis, is still just working back in with conditioning.
Yep. And that's the big thing. You know, Matt's an integral part of what we want, and we don't need to hurry anybody or push anybody out there. And you know, we're looking forward to getting him back out there.
Just logistically with the cross threshold, does that mean you get to back to one locker room, back to one meeting space? Like, when does that kind of stuff get easier for you?
Well, as we cross the threshold, you know, the protocols do lighten up. They do ease up. You know, it means we can do a lot more things in person and as groups, as long as, you know, as long as the unvaccinated do pay attention and stay separated. But for the core guys that are vaccinated, they can get a little bit tighter and be around each other a little bit more. So that's a huge plus.
You feel like the guys kind of took some of your frustrations to heart, even if it took them a little while?
Maybe. I mean, and again, it's a personal decision. I mean, a lot of guys got to think through this and try and understand it. You know, and I hope that there's enough good examples out there to get guys to think and sway them to do what they believe is right.
So the union proposed to the league that even vaccinated players get tested daily, which would, you know, take away some of the loosened restriction for those guys who are vaccinated. Do you worry that would take away from some of the incentives for those who are unvaccinated to actually get the shots?
No, I don't think so. I think those two separate issues. You know, I appreciate what the PA's, you know, doing. They're promoting it. You know, that it's an opportunity to make sure. And again, if that's what, you know, all the people say is best for us, then, you know, that's probably what we'll end up doing.
And with Cole Holcomb, where do you see him taking the biggest strides year over year?
You know, he has made some really big strides, Nikki. It's hard to say, but you see a little bit more discipline in his play. You know, you don't see him biting on things initially as hard as he did. The nice thing is, if he does, he's got enough ability to react quickly and get himself back to where he needs to go. But you do see him practicing better, practicing faster, having a better knowledge of the defense, and the little things, little details in his game have really stepped up in terms of taking the proper step, taking better angles, you know, using and understanding what his leverages and coverages. Those are the things that you really appreciate with Cole, because he's so athletic that any quick step or good first step gets him into the play faster.
Just one quick follow-up. How is he with Jamin?
They're great.
Okay.
I like the synergy that's in that linebacker room. I think Coach Russ has really fostered a positive atmosphere for our young guys. And I can't help, you know, but I know I've praised him before, but John Bostic and his work with all those young guys, and not just Jamin and Cole, but, you know, with Kalik and some of those other guys, that's what you want from a guy that's a veteran player, and he's been terrific. He really has.
Has the energy from Richmond in front of fans carried over up here now where it's just you guys and a couple of us fellow reporters hanging out?
Well, we need a little bit more from you guys. You got to raise it a little bit better.
Time for it. He's just not responding.
That would be nice. It's interesting because I'm looking forward to tomorrow night, and with our fans at FedEx Field, should be an interesting thing in terms of really seeing it get ramped up, and that'll be kind of neat because it'll be the first time for a lot of our guys in our facility there at FedEx. It's a new turf. I'm looking forward to seeing that. I mean, we've been very fortunate with these. You know, we had that hard rain just before we got back down here, and the fields were terrific, and they've been terrific. So I'm excited about that. The energy has been pretty good. Yesterday I was not very happy with it. I let them know that afterwards, but I thought they came back today and handled today's practice the way you would expect them to do it. But like I said, I'm looking forward to the energy tomorrow.
Do you envision pads tomorrow in kind of more game-like situations, or what's your plan?
Well, we're going to practice.
Ron, for William Jackson, he mentioned the other day that with the Bengals, he was in more man here. It's a little more zone. What's the adjustment for a cornerback going from one system like that to the other?
I think part of it is just understanding, when can I play with my eyes? When can I, when can I look through the receiver to the quarterback, which you'll get through zone. In man coverage, the idea is to get at the line of scrimmage, be physical with the guy, jam him, try to route him to your leverage. And part of it is just understanding that I don't have to do that as much as I've got to get used to looking through to the quarterback. And you don't want that to carry over when you now go to your man technique. So it's just kind of understanding, getting used to. And really the only thing that really helps with that is just reps. And but with his skill set, with his ability, being able to master that and understanding this, I look through the guy to the quarterback gives me an opportunity to make more plays, There was a guy here that came from Carolina, that came to Washington. That was his strength with us in Carolina, and you guys know I'm talking about Josh Norman. Josh was a guy that had that ability to look through a receiver to the quarterback and anticipate and understand and expect. That's what we're hoping that he can learn and develop that feel, because again, like I said, with his skill set, he can make a lot of plays on the ball.
And a lot of different receivers have been making a lot of catches, notable catches out here. It feels like maybe with Cam Sims, though, it's been maybe a little quieter. And I'm just wondering, when we normally see him out in training camp, he's working with against the twos and the threes. And now he's primarily up with the ones. What have you kind of seen out of him, and where do you kind of feel how he's been in camp so far?
I think it's been great. I really do. When he's gotten opportunities, the ball's been thrown to him. For the most part, he's made plays, and he's come up with plays. That's one of the things that everybody's got to understand. And I hope the players understand this, because there's only one football. And when you got 5 skilled players out on the field and you distribute the ball, and I've told you guys this last year, one of the things that I always look at is ball distribution. Who's the ball being thrown to, who's catching the ball, who's running the ball, who's getting what touches. And if you can keep that diverse, if you can have where you have 8 different guys touching the ball, not one guy touching it 10 or 12 times, unless he's killing it, but 5 here, 6 here, 4 here, 3 here, 5 here, then now you can't focus in. You can't, hey, we're going to roll up and take this guy out of the game and make these guys beat us. That can't be the attitude. They have to keep everything spread out as far as the defense is concerned. That helps us. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for one individual to have 10, 12, and everybody else to have 1 or 2. I hope we can keep it diverse and we can have 5, 6, 5, 4, 3, 5, that type across the board.
You mentioned John Bostic earlier and how much he's helping the young guys, but spending a first-round draft pick on a linebacker like Jamin Davis could be threatening for his playing time. So how have you kind of seen John react to kind of having an influx of young guys around him, and what have you seen out here of him out here?
I mean, he's handled like a pro. I mean, he's taken it in stride because, he knows it's a challenge. And, and we've always said we're going to play the guys we believe that help us the most, that give us the best opportunity. We have a whole different combination of defenses, different sub-packages that everybody's going to fit in. We're going to give everybody an opportunity to own something. John's done a great job with it, though. I mean, he's what you want in a professional football player. You want a guy that understands, gets it, and it's not gonna deter him from out there competing and trying to get better every day. And that's what he's done, and he deserves the praise.
With Cole Holcomb, you mentioned that he's gained a lot of discipline over the past few years. What in particular has he done to get more disciplined, and also what does he bring to this defense in terms of both rushing and in coverage?
Well, I think the thing about Cole more so than anything else is I think because he understands and he's got a better feel for what we're doing and how we do it, I think that's helped him as far as development in terms of his discipline. Part of the discipline is realizing and recognizing that I don't have to make every play. Okay, I have to make the plays that are presented to me as I do my job, as I read my keys. Every now and then, I'll get out of my gap or my responsibility and go make a play, but that's because I've seen it. I'm not trying to force it. That's a big part of it. Young guys want to make every play, and the truth is you can't. Got a little saying we tell the guys, I want 11 guys doing one thing at a time, not one guy trying to do 11. And Cole understands that now. He gets it. If I do my job, I'll make the plays that I should. And every now and then I'll make a play that I shouldn't.
Another one on Cole. You kind of mentioned it when Nicky asked, but how do him and Jamin play off each other when they're actually on the field together and sub packages?
I think they communicate pretty well right now. I really do. And they talk about those things, and you can see it. It's interesting because sometimes you get in man and you watch, like sometimes at walkthrough, let's say one of them is misaligned because they're almost interchangeable. The other guy's just pointing at them and say, hey, I got this. So then now the other guy knows, hey, I just take his responsibility. And that's what you want to develop over a period of time. You want all your guys to be able to do that. Just understand what's happening, make each other right, make the unit right. A couple times, and this happened earlier, we had our linebackers aligned to the wrong side. So instead of everybody freaking out, one safety who was on the opposite side just called it, changed the call, came down, and we played defense. I mean, that's what you're looking for as a unit, is that they can fix things without a huge panic and it looking like a fire drill out there.
And you mentioned Luke Kuechly like as an example for Davis, for Jamin. Does that make like Thomas Davis or Shaq Thompson like for Holcomb? Like, how does that kind of line up?
I mean, that's the kind of synergy I'm looking for. I mean, you'd love to be able to say these are our three linebackers. They're similar to this three that I had in Carolina. They're similar to this four I had in San Diego. They're similar to this three I had in Chicago. I mean, that's what I compare it to, because I was very fortunate that we had some success in those places, and that's what I look at when I compare a lot of our guys and a lot of my notes to say, hey, he reminds me of this guy, or he played like that guy. I mean, to me, that's high praise. It's like talking about Benjamin St. Juste. I mean, he reminds me of Charles Tillman, watching him. He's built like Charles. He's got that mentality. You always watch him going after the football. So when I try to compare him to somebody, I'm doing that because I see things that tell me, hey, this is what this kid's skill set's all about.